Happy 4th of July. Um, on every American holiday where freedom is involved, whether it's Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, I always think of freedom. And even before I'm patriotic, I'm always thinking we only know what freedom looks like because of a man who chose his freedom was to decide whether or not to obey his father's will, and he did. And he chose to endure a cross so that every one of us would have the right to be forgiven and enter into a relationship, eternal relationship with our God. That freedom comes through Jesus. And so I'm so grateful that our country stands as a beacon to other nations even today, even though we're struggling with our Christian identity as a nation. The framers of that document had it spot on because they said that the rights and freedoms that men are granted across the board are inalienable. I love that word. It means they cannot be separated from the person. So that any nation who is not granting them is actually doing something against God's will. Just what a huge set of statements. So I'm grateful for our country. And I always, with a little wink, am excited that I left a country which was red and white and blue, and I call that place home. And now I'm home, and I didn't have to change any colors because it's still red, white, and blue. This episode is called The Now and Not Yet, and there are going to be several winks or shout outs, sort of, some people might say, to folks back home in this little part of the episode. I decided to break it up so you don't have to watch one 50-minute video, and it won't be that long anyway. But I really wanted you to have some stories from home, from you, from supporters, and then to have stories from here. So that's the 1-2 punch that I'm going for. And then one that explains why this France Briefly took so long. Stories from home. I just got off FaceTime with Julie Clarity, literally, and it's 4th of July here, but not yet in the States. I love the 6-hour time difference because, like Jason Kapp, I always get to say hello to you from the future, or happy birthday from the future, or happy 4th of July from the future. And Julie and I were talking. She's headed to Africa soon on a mission trip. And I'm so excited for her. And we had just a great talk about calling and what long-term and short-term calling looks like. And it's eternal friends, but also people whose hearts beats with the same rhythm for the kingdom, whether it be in your Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, or the ends of the earth. Folks who get that whole big picture always encourage me. So to hear her work through that and what that means for her and her family just so boosts me and reminds me why I'm here and encourages me. So Julie, I want you to say Godspeed to you. And to all of you, I just want to remind you something I said to her for this trip. I told her, I remember why it was so marking to me. We came away from that trip and we were so bonded as a team. There are friends on that trip that I now call eternal friends, and they're stuck with me for 70 years. I say minimum 70-year commitment, because in 70 years I'll be so old and senile, I won't care if you're my friend anymore. But up until then, you stuck with me. You cannot get rid of me. And that's how much we love each other. But we went with our hands open going, whatever it is, God, that you are going to show us and teach us, because often we learn more on mission trips than we take. And that's fine, because the people there experience it in the reverse. They receive so much, and they have no idea how much God's doing in us. There's always two sides to missions. So I love when people get the whole big picture for missions, that your family, and Julie and I talked about this, and she agrees, your family and your marriage is your first ministry field. That's easy. If you're building a strong, godly marriage that shines the beacon to other ungodly people around you, and if you're raising godly children to witness to Him, about Him, in a world that doesn't know Him anymore, you're doing so much work for the kingdom. That's your ministry. So don't ever downplay or feel like you're not doing enough. Doing those things well is what God called you to first, and your priority. So I encourage her, Godspeed to her, and to all of you who are supporting us, because I know that you're doing those things in your local context.